Hey everybody, it's John from I Dig High Tones and welcome back to another edition. I have a real treat for you today. I'm getting ready to head back to the UK for my 5th tour in the area of Norfolk in the UK, metal detecting for 12 straight days. Now, before I do, I wanted to do a few in-ground tests with actual coins that I found from prior trips. So get ready, buckle up. I've got 3 coins. I've got 3 XP Deus coils, the high frequency coil, the 9-inch coil, and the 11x13 elliptical. I'm gonna dig 3 holes at 3 different depths, and I'll try to do this in about 3 minutes. So stick with me, it should be a very interesting experiment. Let's take a look at the 3 coins that I'll be searching for. Well, here are the 3 coins, and these are 3 coins I've actually found on prior trips. The first is a small Saxon silver skeet, tiny coin. It's a little thicker than your typical hammered silver coin, but it's small, tough to find. I found that with the high frequency coil. This is a typical hammered penny, very thin. They can be much smaller because they could be cut in half, they could be cut in quarters, and then there are smaller half pennies and farthings, and larger coins as well that are hammered. And then third is a hammered gold Edward III quarter noble. So this coin here was actually found tacoed, so it was more or less in half, but complete, just folded over, and has been professionally straightened out. But those are the 3 coins, and I'm going to plant them at depths of 3, 6, and 9 inches and test the different coils to see what we're hearing when we're searching for these types of coins in the UK. Now, if you've never been to the UK, but hope to go someday, this will be a great reference for you. And even if you're not planning to go to the UK or detecting in the UK, this will actually help you distinguish US coins as well in terms of depths and also metal content. Now, if you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this and videos from my adventures in Pennsylvania and overseas. But for now, let's get started. Now, I've placed each in a plastic bag to make it easy to recover them, and I'm going to start digging 3 holes. Now, I've gone over this area with the 11x13 inch coil just to make sure we're dealing with a fairly clean ground surface. So there's little clicking and the usual types of minerals that are in the soil, but for the most part, this is a very clean area. Okay, I've got the 3 holes dug. This one is approximately 3 inches here. This one about 6 inches. And this one, the deepest, about 9 inches. So 3 holes, 3 coils, 3 coins, and 3 minutes. So we're starting with the hammered silver penny, the Edward I. I'm using the high frequency coil, and I'm using sensitive full tones throughout. It's my go-to program. I usually modify it for the field, but here I'm going to use factory settings on sensitive full tones. So 3 inches, silver, hammered silver, Edward I, and we're picking it up pretty good. We're getting a 70, 71, high 60s maybe, and that's typically what we would see in the UK. The coin is laying flat, it's laying horizontally, so the coil is getting a good look at that coin. But that's a signal, it's definitely a diggable signal, something that would stop me in my tracks and alert me to dig. Okay, here we go with the 6 inches down. We have a silver penny, Edward. We're getting a little bit of a squeak, and on a quiet field, I would probably stop and investigate that. We're getting a better signal depending on angle coming up. It's jumping around a bit from the 50s to the low 60s. but I think that's borderline. With the high frequency coil, I'd probably dig that. Again, especially if we're hearing lots of iron around and this kind of a tingy sweet signal were to pop up, that would alert me to dig. Same silver penny, much deeper down, and the high frequency coil, and it's not really surprising, not really picking up that coin. Not really picking that coin up with the high frequency coil. So clear signal, decent signal, no signal. Let's move on. Now, since the penny's already in the ground, 9 inches, let's go over it with the 9-inch coil and see if we can pick it up. A little bit of a squeak, and honestly, not a great signal. Not the type of signal I would have expected at 9 inches with this 9-inch coil. Actually getting a bit of an irony tone in there. Yeah, not really hitting the coin at 9 inches, at least not in a way that I would expect to be able to stop and confidently extract that coin. Okay, here we are at 6 inches. Yeah, definitely picking up the coin. Nice, sweet, consistent, 68, loud, and right on the money. Nice, tight, got that sweet, high sound, diggable all day long. I love my 9-inch coil, and that's why right there. And here we are back on 3. Oh yeah, all day long. From every angle, you've got a very sure signal there. Again, very consistent, 67, 68. You're not going to miss that any day of the week. Okay, so that's the skeet and the penny. Let's try the gold. And since I have the 9-inch coil on, I'm going to start with the 3-inch hole and the gold coin. There you go. All day long. That's a definite signal. 70, 71, 72. Yeah, that low 70 range for gold. And you can hear the sweetness in that signal. That's diggable all day long. You will not miss that coin with the 9-inch coil in the field. Okay, here we are. The 11 by 13 inch coil, gold coin in the ground, 3 inches. Yes, absolutely. We're picking that up, 71, 72. Yeah, I'd be digging that all day long. No doubt about that one. Okay, we're back. The gold coin, 3 inches. Yeah, the audio cue on this is definitely going to make it a diggable coin. It is jumping around a little bit, not as consistent. Right over the coin we're 73 to 77, so it's giving us a higher target ID for the gold with the high frequency coil, but diggable. That's a signal you would definitely take notice of and dig. Let's move to the 6-inch hole and go in reverse with all 3 coils. Okay, the gold coin at 6 inches with the high frequency coil, sensitive full tones. Now, if you're walking along a field and hear that, you're stopping. It's not a consistent signal, but it is chirping high. And when I hear a high tone chirp like that, I'm going in and digging. So not as crisp and clear as what we're getting on the 3-inch hole, but there's definitely indicators that there's something here. Here we go. We're on the 9-inch coil, 6-inch hole, gold coin lurking underneath the ground. Oh yeah. Now, who wouldn't dig that? 72, consistent. It's often said you can hear shapes with the XP Deus 2. And this is a good example. Now the coin is laying flat, but this has definitely a circular shape to it. Nice and tight, beautiful signal. And you'd be digging that all day long. 71, 72, no doubt about it. There's gold. All right, here we are, 11 by 13 inch coil. Same coin, same depth, 6 inches. Yeah, we're picking that up. No doubt about it. Not sure it's any louder, bolder, sharper than the 9-inch coil. In fact, I would argue that the size is a little more dispersed, that it's not as obvious to me that this is a really tight, small coin. But still a great signal, 71, 72, 69. You'd be digging that with this coil for sure. All right, it's a little bit nerve-wracking to bury a gold coin under 9 inches of soil, but hey, we're gonna do it for the sake of our tests here. Now, I'm not adding all the other soil in, so let's say that this is maybe not a true 9 inches, but it is down 9 inches, just not covered with 9 inches worth of soil. So I'm gonna switch back to the high frequency coil, though the odds of that, finding that coin at that depth, I think would be surprising. We're all paired up. This is the high frequency coil. And let's see if we can get anything at this depth. I don't think it's likely. No indication there from my vantage point. That would not be a signal that would force me to dig. So there you have it with the high frequency coil, really not getting the depth, even on a gold coin, that we would like to get. But obviously the coil is built for other purposes, really for sniffing objects in trashier sites and smaller objects closer to the surface. But let's move on to the 9-inch. Okay, 9 inch is all paired up, and let's walk across the field. Something there. It's not totally giving up. 9 inches is a workhorse, and with headphones on, again, depending on what else is surrounding this coin, that's, I don't know, I'd say that's very diggable. A lot would depend on the type of day I'm having. If I'm desperate for signals and really haven't been finding much, I'd probably be digging more, and I'd be compelled to dig this one. If I'm having a good day finding lots of solid signals, I might, in fact, pass this by, sad to say, but it's a good lesson on just how iffy a great object could be. And here from this angle, you're really getting a much better signal, but depending on how you hit it and how fast you're swinging and how fast you're moving, this is one that could walk over. But the beautiful thing about the XP Deus 2 is that there's just a little bit of tinge of high tone, even in these scratchy signals, that in a day of detecting in a field where you're finding, you're hearing iron tones, you're hearing other lower tone signals, there's just enough here to make you want to be curious and to dig that hole. But that is the gold coin down at 9 inches, and I'm super hopeful that I can actually recover the coin. But before I do, let's move on to the 11 by 13 inch coil. Hey, we got Big Bertha here, all paired up, walking the field. Yeah, we're getting, I'd say, a much stronger signal than the 9-inch coil at that depth. Definitely enough to make me want to investigate. The interesting thing to me is that the signal is not coming from exactly over the target. Here we're a little bit more directly over the target. But there's enough there. I think there is a bit of a gain in terms of depth between this 11 by 13 and the 9-inch on this gold coin. Not as crisp and as distinctive as I would like, but nonetheless, there's enough there to make me want to check it out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've successfully extracted the gold coin, so that makes me happy. So what are my takeaways here? Well, first of all, don't do a field test next to your wife's garden because you'll be swarmed by bees the whole time. Secondly, I think the coils performed pretty much the way we expect them to, with the larger coil getting deeper down, giving us a more confident, more sure signal. The 9-inch has always been my workhorse and continues to impress me for uncovering coins at all depths. Now, if I'm on a field where the targets are deeper and the soil has been freshly plowed, I may go with the 11 by 13 just to get that extra oomph. But the high frequency coil definitely picked up that small skeet. And in fact, I found that small skeet with the high frequency coil in a reasonably freshly plowed field, but it had been a field that had been compacted by many people walking over it. So, but boy, that high frequency coil definitely picks up the small objects closer to the surface in those top 3-4 inches. So there you have it. The other lesson I would say is high 60s, low 70s. That's a real sweet spot for medieval coins, silver, gold, the skeet also ringing up at lower numbers, but still in that sort of mid 50s to mid 60s range. So that's the range where you really want to be attentive and listen for that high nuanced tone that the Deus 2 is famous for throwing off. So that's it. I've got all the coins. The test is done. Going to pack up my gear and get ready to head back to the UK. And if you have any questions about metal detecting in the UK, this will be my 5th time. Happy to provide advice or share experiences with you. And well, until I see you next time, happy detecting. And may all your tones be high tones or tones in that 60s to 70, low 70s range. All right. That's it. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.